We are back again at the podcast, the Tell Them You Mean Business podcast. And you know a guest must be good if they are actually here for the second time. And Todd, you are the only guest we've had back twice, and I am so happy that you are here. Todd Berlin, the general manager of Suburban Motors, Harley-Davidson, and Aaron Houpt, the events coordinator. Aaron, is that what I call you here today?
Yep, that covers it.
So I've got two of these heavy hitters from Suburban joining me today to talk about the great dealership Suburban and also this upcoming event we have with the Harley 120th. So thank you both for being here. I'm so grateful that you took time out of your busy schedules to join me here.
Thanks. Pretty stoked to be like the second timer, and I never was that smart. I sat in the back in high school, and I'm not even getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on, Aaron? Huh?
You're the only guest I've had for free, so we figured why not bring him back a second time.
I brought Aaron. He's the events coordinator at Suburban. He's puts everything together on that marketing side and social media side, and whatever events we have going. But a little factoid of it is. His grandpa is the one who hired me. His grandpa was Wayne and was the owner of Suburban, and now his grandmother, Joan, is the owner since Wayne has passed on. But, I treat Aaron like a dog half the time anyways. He gets zero special treatment from me, and he knows it, but, I don't have to yell at him too much.
Well, Aaron, I can say I've met your grandparents. Great, great, great people. And obviously Suburban, a great dealership. So it's an honor for me to have you here today to talk about the 120th and talk about Suburban. But Todd, let's start with you. Our listeners know who you are. We've had you on here before. But how long have you been at Suburban? And just tell us generally, you're overseeing all the daily duties. Let's talk about Suburban and how great things are going there.
I've been with Suburban about 17 years. The unique thing is, a kid growing up in Ozaki, I used to pedal my bike up to the original Suburban in Grafton, which was also a car dealer. And obviously, I came from the automobile side. That's why Wayne and I click so well together. We both came from, humble beginnings. And, he gave me every opportunity to excel and to grow at Suburban. And, with a lot of things happening, I ended up in the general manager role. Was definitely supposed to run the company from the beginning, but to do it with his two sons, and one passed on. But Aaron's dad Joe is there, so Joe and I are run pretty much the day-to-day operations, and I also oversee pretty much their entire business portfolio, which also includes some restaurants, some office buildings. Pretty much Wayne has a little bit of everything, and it is an honor for me to have been given that duty also. They could have gone outside and found people more qualified, but that wasn't how Wayne did it. He let people grow, and he gave us that opportunity. I'm super thankful. I'm not getting any younger, but I truly do still love it. And, my new thing is the restaurant side. We also own a restaurant up in Cedarburg, Wayne's, named after Wayne. And, we've all gotten involved in that this year as we had a general manager change, and I hired somebody new for up there due to retirement, and I even got Aaron up there working. He's phenomenal up there, but he's off of that because now we're coming into our busy season. We're in event time, and so I need Aaron to do what he's hired and trained to do, and that's what he's doing.
So Aaron, let's talk just a second about when you started going to the dealership, your first memories of being at a Harley dealership and now working there. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and getting yourself involved in the dealership.
Yeah, so I've been there since a kid. Earliest memories were like walking around the dealership and just kind of hanging out. My dad would be in the back working on bikes. I would normally play darts on one of the walls that they had. First time really working there was during events. They would have us hustling trash in a golf cart, so you thought you were really cool because you're driving a golf cart around. But here you are doing one of the, a task that's absolutely horrible to do, but it's something that you got to stay up on.
Yeah.
So it really humbles you at the beginning base level of starting at the bottom, working your way up. And then from there it grew. I would go there after school, on the weekends, talk to the staff, just basically all my free time was there. And then it really started when we were go-kart racing. We would go there, we would have a race shop, come back, work an event, so we would have to miss a race, stuff like that. And after I went to school for hospitality, tourism management, jumped back in, Todd reached out to me and said, hey, we would love some help with some social media stuff. And from there, it just kind of grew. And then
here you are.
As the jobs kept coming, I kept taking the task and trying to knock them down one at a time.
And I know, Todd, you've been a rider for over 40 years, I believe, and we talked before. Aaron, are you a rider?
I am.
And how long have you been riding?
So I've been riding since probably I've been 5.
Okay.
I was on like a 50 dirt bike, and then from there just went up. Now I own a street glide and commute every day to work unless it's snowing.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's talk about the Harley 120th that's coming July 13th through the 16th. You know, all of us that are riders know that the rally that we usually have is over Labor Day weekend. The 120th is in July, and I can't remember some of the other specific date events like the 110th or the 100th. Have they always been in this time of year? Do they used to be over Labor Day? Why this time of year, if you know?
It used to be over Labor Day. It would kind of blanket over what we had, which was the Milwaukee Rally, which was something that we were the founder of. Scott, Wayne's son, put together that program with, at the time, the local dealers who were owned by other people. So we ran the Milwaukee Rally because the business was phenomenal, and we were looking for a way to kind of keep that momentum going in the fall. So we ran the Milwaukee Rally over Labor Day, and it worked out pretty good. You know, who likes to work Labor Day? Me, I had to. You know, I would have loved to have been elsewhere, but you know, that's what we sign up for. So we did it on Labor Day. Well, then Harley-Davidson became involved, obviously, every 5 years, and they want to change the date, move the date. So they moved the date to July this year, trying to, you know, get in front of Sturgis. Sturgis is an absolutely phenomenal event. If anyone's never been there, you should go there.
Been there multiple times.
Yeah,
loved it.
It's a whole different vibe than what we have because you have the riding. But, you know, they moved the date. And so, you know, obviously we're going to fall in line with that, and we're going to run an event on the day. Is it the best time? I honestly wish I could tell you. There's a lot happening in July. You're fighting against, you know, people taking vacations and so forth. We're going to try it. We're happy to try it in July. It's just a little bit unique for us. And then, you know, down the road, we're not quite sure what we're going to do over Labor Day, if we're going to do anything over Labor Day.
Right. How is the 120th going to be different this year than any of the other, the 115th, the 110th? Talk us through if it's going to be different in any way. What are you excited about? And let's just talk about the
Well,
event.
on our side, it's going to be pretty much business as usual. You know, we're separate dealers, so what we're going to do is we're doing an event up by us. You know, Thursday is the lead into it. We're going to start something on a Wednesday night. Aaron and I decided, hey, we're setting up, right? You know, let's just say we're open, and you know, there's a ride coming in. I don't know if did you ever do one of the rides in?
I didn't.
Okay, so there's rides coming from all over the U.S. They're coming in on Wednesday, but they really don't have anywhere to go. So I'm like, well, we're open anyways. Just
come to Suburban.
Come to Suburban. You know, we'll have some vendors setting up. We're going to have, you know, possibly some food going on. I can whip a grill out pretty quick. And, you know, Aaron, he's really great at cooking them now that he's worked at Wayne's. But, in all seriousness, you know, why not just be open and let these people come here? Not every, you know, you're going to get riders from all over the U.S. and they're going to want to go somewhere. You're on your week vacation. Let's make it happen. So we're going to be open that Wednesday. But, you know, what's nothing different for us on the Harley side, a little bit different. They're going to be at Veterans Park. There will be no dealers there. It's going to be Harley's deal at Veterans. They're going to have some bands. They've got Green Day coming in, and they got, who else? Help me.
Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters.
There you go. So they've got them coming in, some other bands coming in, you know, and we have our bands coming in too. We've got, you know, Aaron will go through that, but, you know, so they're going to have their event at Veterans, and they're also going to have the museum. You know, that's going to be packed. You know,
will that be different down at Veterans Park than it's been at any of the other events, or is it still going to be the same music and Harley corporate putting on whatever they're going to put on?
Yes, it'll be them doing their thing, and that's great. It's a big draw. They're going to bring in the big bands. But as for us, we won't be down there. We've always been down there at all the others. All the dealers were allowed to vend and have our clothing, our wares, and that was like a big thing for us. We're not going to do it. We're just going to concentrate more on what we're doing up at our store.
I read something about the 120th anniversary collection. Can you tell us about what that is? Is that merchandise? Is it bikes? Is it clothing? Tell us about that.
So they have 2 different kinds of clothing and style of bikes this year. The CVO is more of a darker red style with the same stitching the seat as the other ones. The Standard models are more of a lighter red. So they piggyback that into their clothing. They've done that with the poker chips, the hats, with the red and or black style of the logos. As far as what they've done with that, then they've tried to market it different to a different audience and say, hey, you can buy this stuff, but then also have this other option where you're still representing the 120 years of Harley-Davidson.
How competitive is it, Todd, to get one of these 120th anniversary collection bikes like the CVO? Usually I know I've purchased a CVO in the past, and you get on the list and they're very difficult. Is it still the same kind of thing?
It's still the same because they are such a limited produce bike. And then, people coming in, there's that person that wants to be on the anniversary bike during the anniversary. So I don't believe I even have one. We sold the last one yesterday to a guy who's been on his original bike for 15 years. He came in yesterday. He saw this. I had a CVO Limited. He ended up taking it, and I also comped him a couple parade passes to do it. So he's super stoked.
Oh, how fun.
It's going to be fun for him because he's going to be on that bike during it.
I've been in that parade, and it was really fun, but it was like gridlock for a while as they're staging it, and you're trying to get yourself moving. But what a great experience to be a part of that.
Fun.
So let's talk about Suburban specifically and what you guys have going on over the 13th through the 16th. I think, Aaron, you're probably the one that should give us just an overview about what you're excited about. I've been at some of your events. Everything you guys do, you do it well. We are proud to be the Suburban Motors official event sponsor, and we'll have a booth there. But let's talk about all the great things you have going on.
So first off, you'll be able to get all your Hupy and Abraham, I'll just say swag there. We're very excited to have the Chromeworks semi there. Codlin USA, which is a new drag product that will be exclusive to Suburban. Exclusive also to Suburban will be Mustang seats and a couple other vendors. So we're very excited to have those that haven't been on the lot in a long time. Legend Suspension will be out there. They haven't been back to our shop since the last anniversary. As far as bands, Thursday we're kicking it off with Michael Charles, is a blues legend. Friday will be the Cheap Shots. And then Saturday night will be the Knicks Band, who was just playing at our party on Main Street. Great band. And then Friday will be rolling it up with another great band in classic rock style. So you can come out all weekend, enjoy it, hit the vendors. We'll have great food vendors out there. Our merchandise in our shop will be separated. We have a great idea that I'm working with our motor clothes manager to almost set up a museum-style anniversary sale where you will be able to be the first time in a long time buy our 95th, I Survived the 95th shirts, the 100th shirts, some 115th shirts, and that's breaking news, I guess, on this today.
That's awesome.
That we're going to have this set up, and I think we will be the only dealership that has vintage clothing that's like that you won't be able to find anywhere else.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the timing. If someone wants to come, when are you open? When, I assume it'll go and when the bands are done. But if someone wants to come, what time are you guys opening on each of these days for people to come out there?
Every day is open at 9 a.m. sharp. All the vendors will be there. The food will be going. Coffee vendors will be open. And then it varies for each day. Thursday is 7 o'clock. Friday is 11 o'clock, Saturday is 10 o'clock, and Sunday is 6 o'clock.
I know when I've been to Sturgis on my bike and I've wanted some of the vendors to do some work on my bike, they actually did the work when I was right there. And with these vendors that you have, will they be able to work on people's bikes when they're at Suburban?
Absolutely. Chromeworks is going to have their full semi there. They're going to have about 3 or 4 lifts ready to put on exhausts, handlebars. Cobra exhaust will be there. Legends will have their suspension that if we're able to have one of our techs put it on, they'll be able to do it right there in the shop, and on the road you can go with your new suspension.
I mean, how great is that? I was so excited when I was at Sturgis, and I put on new windshield, I put on chrome, I did all this crazy stuff right then and there, and then was able to just ride my bike all around. For people that may want to do that at Suburban, what's the best way to guarantee yourself that you'll be able to get some of that stuff done at your bike? Is it to schedule an appointment before you get there? Or is it just get there early?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of influx of people coming. Just get up early and come on in. And we've got a lot to do while you're waiting also.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great dealership. You guys have so much to offer. Do you think there'll be people from all around the world that will come for an event like this in Milwaukee?
There always will be. We always have. You benchmark it against, I would say, the 100th. And if you remember that was absolute insanity. Chaos. And they've all kind of changed and evolved every 5 years. This will be my 4th one. I didn't do the 100th. I got hired right after that, but they've changed a little bit, and not for the bad. It's, people age out, new people come in. It's like I tell my sales staff and my sales manager that just everyone needs to realize that new person coming in, this is their first time. A guy like my dad or your dad who'd been to a bunch of them, it becomes almost routine to them. But there's that person, it's their first time going to an event. So when people say, well, it's never going to be like the 100th, well, unfortunately, half the people that rode at the 100th are no longer with us, my father included. But those new people that we've sold bikes leading up to it, that's what continually makes it such a fun event, is for the first timers. They're so excited. They're flying around Milwaukee. They've come into Milwaukee from, let's just say, Florida, Ohio, wherever, but they've never been here for an anniversary. That's why it's so unique and fun.
Yeah.
So
who are you seeing are your new first time bike buyers?
I'd love to say it's all, young people like Aaron's age, but the first time bike buyers, it's still the beauty of our business. It's still the same in that I'll get a guy who's 50 to 60 years old, who's worked his whole life, who, no matter what his profession is, who has now decided or got the green light from either the spouse or, a parent to go get a bike. And he comes in and gets his first Harley. It's great. I love the young people that do it because it's fun. They're excited, but it's also great to get a 50 to 60-year-old who's getting his first Harley. I mean, it's just, that's the wonderful part about our business.
Yeah. Is there anything you're most excited about for the upcoming 120th?
For me personally, the food, it's always on the lot I can eat. I mean, I don't have to go anywhere. But what about you, bud?
I'm excited for our bands. I'm excited for the vendors that are coming out there for the first time. I'm excited to have you guys back on board and being able to help out in our parking lot with the Hupy and Abraham pucks. I'm really excited. One of our motor clothes manager, this is like one of her first ones to work. And the ideas that we've come up with, the tent, the museum style thing, our sales managers worked really well with laying out the lot to make it strategic, still make the bikes look real great. Our staff is veteran staff, and we know what to do, but we're still making it new to come out to our shop and explain or to explore. Yeah. Where even if you're a customer, I mean, I know one of our customers, Rocky, there almost every Saturday. We'll come out there and still be amazed on what we have going on. And it's always fun to be in the thick of it and just dealing with everything that's going on.
I think hearing the Roaring Thunder in Milwaukee coming up July 13th through the 16th is really going to be amazing. I want to encourage all our listeners, go to Suburban. It's an amazing dealership. They're going to do a great job taking care of everybody that goes there. I also want to make sure that all of our listeners are watching for motorcycles. We are going to have a lot of bikes here. And as a rider myself, I really just want to encourage people to be cautious, be careful. So many people are just so selfish out there on the road. And I can tell you when, speaking for Aaron, Todd, myself, when you're on two wheels, it's a scary process when you see somebody next to you texting and driving. I've seen people reading the paper. Let's all be extra special cautious because this is a great thing for Milwaukee and the surrounding suburbs that all these motorcyclists are coming here to celebrate Harley-Davidson's 120th. But let's all do our part to make sure we're safe. So Todd and Aaron, thank you so much for spending your time here to talk a little bit about this. As Todd knows, before you leave my podcast, you are put in the Hupy hot seat. And today we're going to put Aaron in the Hupy hot seat where we're going to ask you, Aaron, a few questions that you're going to have to answer. And since you are the grandson of the owners of Suburban Harley-Davidson, and you've been at this dealership since you were a little boy, I expect you to know some of these answers. I'm just kidding. I don't even know half these answers myself. But here, making sure your bike is ready for a road trip is an essential step before you head to Milwaukee for the Harley-Davidson 120th. So today, we're putting Aaron in the Hupy hot seat, focusing on long-distance ride safety. So the first question is a true or false, Aaron. You got a 50% chance of getting this right. The acronym T-Watch refers to a motorcycle pre-ride checklist that bikers can use to remember what they need to look over on their bike before their ride.
To check what is it?
Okay.
I'm going to say it's true.
Okay. Is that your final answer, Aaron? Aaron's,
Yeah.
For those of you that are listening to the podcast, Aaron's looking around for help and my staff.
Oh, boy, I was told there would be no pressure.
This is no pressure. This is just fun.
I'm feeding a fit.
Yeah.
So, hey.
So the answer actually, Aaron, is false. It was true originally, and my crack staff changed the question a little bit. So the acronym is really called T-Clock, not T-Watch. And what it stands for is tires, controls, lights, oil, chassis, which are all things you need to remember to check before you ride. T-Watch was just something made up to try to trick Aaron in today's podcast, and we were successful. We got a little trick in there, Aaron.
I think I want to take that name for my self-proclaimed nickname, T-Watch.
T-Watch, there you go. Todd is now T-Watch. Okay, question number 2. It is common for riders to experience fatigue while riding a motorcycle long distances due to the heightened mental and physical effort. What is the recommended length of time a motorcyclist should ride before a break? Is it A, 30 minutes, B, 90 minutes, or C, 3 hours?
I'm going to say 3 hours.
It's actually B, 90 minutes.
Okay, that was going to be my second
Don't,
choice.
Aaron, I didn't know any of these answers either, so don't worry about it. Last
I
question.
never rode with my dad.
I was gonna say,
I know.
6 hours.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
brutal.
I've done that too, and it's...
Yeah, we've rode all the way back from Sturgis.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can barely remember. On a motorcycle long-distance road trip, it's inevitable you'll have to ride on the highway. When on the highway, what is the recommended lane for motorcyclists to use? Is it A, left lane, B, middle lane, or C, right lane?
I'm going with my gut feeling in the lane that I use. It's middle, even though that's not right.
Okay, the correct answer is supposed to be left lane. And the reason why is the left lane offers good visibility, less merging traffic, and a flexible set of routes in case of an emergency. So, I mean,
God, I learned so much.
I know.
was gonna say.
I learn all this stuff too when I read the questions right before we answer. So there was no pressure. This is just a fun little thing, Aaron, with some facts in advance of the 120.
I was worried about breaking the law in the left lane. I'm supposed to be in it.
Well, I guess as I think about it now, I didn't know that before the question, but maybe it's if you're near the left lane, you're going to be in the middle lane. You got merging traffic
Yep.
from both.
Right.
And then also supposedly there may be an emergency lane to your left. If something happens, it gives you a little free spot to go in the left. I don't know.
You know what I think we do? We have a safety seminar.
There you go. And you can bring the Hupy hot
Yeah.
seat questions. There
Yeah.
you go
We're
to
gonna bring
answer.
them.
All right.
Well, guys, thank you so much.
Thanks.
I want you to have an amazing time over the 120th. You guys do such a great job. Todd, you will probably be the only guest we ever have in the Tell Them You Mean Business podcast twice. So I want to say thank you so much. You are definitely worthy of a second visit. And I want you guys to have a really great summer and a safe riding season.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, my goal is to be 3-time.
Take care, guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
very
much.
much.